Someone once told me the grass is much greener.
A lot of people are watching along with us.
Things are going to be taken a lot further.
It does keep the flow really, really nicely, which makes it a show that was really ahead of its time.
Where's that petrified eyeball at now? Who's had it last?
Macy is amazing, and she doesn't care about what other people think about her.
Don't you feel like maybe Dodie represents the instinctive, animal, ugly part of us?
I might have just been having a bad day when I gave it the meh.
At Camp Caprice, priest, we don't sing mooses, we sing these.
Someone once told me the grass is much greener on the other side.
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of War in Between, the podcast that discusses about every single episode of As Told by Ginger once a week. Last week we discussed about the episode April's Fools, and this week we're discussing about episode 31, which is called Miss Foutley's Boys. It debuted in April 28th, 2002, and it was written by Emily Kapnick. And joining us this week, we have one of the storyboard artists who worked on this episode. Last time we had Eric Molinsky, who worked on Lunatic Lake. So this time around, we have Darin McGowan. So, Darin, welcome to We're in Between.
How's it going?
We're doing good, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question.
Sure.
How old are you guys?
I'm 31.
And 23.
Wow, that's crazy. So, like, what's funny to me is, like, I've been listening to your old shows, and it's strange that, like, As Told by Ginger has had, like, a kind of a resurgence, which is a little strange. It seemed like it was popular when it was on, but it seems like it's kind of crazy popular now. Is it?
Yeah, it kind of is. Ever since the airings of the episodes on Nick Splat and, to some extent, maybe to a tiny little extent, maybe our podcast. And I did As Told by Ginger month on my YouTube channel, like, almost 2 years ago.
So you're responsible, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, let's not be shy about it, Patricia. We are single-handedly responsible for this show coming back.
That's very sweet, but I'm not going to take any credit whatsoever, but thank you.
What we talked about with Eric 2 weeks ago is that this show aged well, not only in, like, the general sense, but with the viewers as well. Like, it's one of those shows where I watched it at the time. I must have when it's premiered in 2000, I was 6 years old. Yeah, and I was 14. I was in high school.
14?
Yeah, I was
14 would have been perfect.
Yeah, I was 14 when the show came out, and everybody that I knew in high school, they talked about Invader Zim. They didn't talk about As Told by Ginger, so I was the only one.
There's an audience for everything, and there's something about what Eric and Kate did with As Told by Ginger, and I think a lot of us too. Like, there's so much in it that's fairly grown up. It's all relatable stuff, but it's not stupid. Like some of the stories for children's cartoons back then were like, they're funny enough,
but they're insulting almost. Yeah.
Oh, well, no, I wouldn't say.
Like, intelligence-wise. Not so much Zim, but I know what you mean. The plots are a lot more intricate.
I just listened to you guys talking about losing Nana Bishop, and that's a bummer. That's a really sad, real story. That's a real situation you don't see Invader Zim bitching about.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, in this episode of Miss Foutley's Boys, it's about that Lois starts to date Buzz, the plumber that helped fix the mold problem in the episode TGIF. Shortly after, he and his 3 sons are living with Lois as Buzz fixes everything without asking, giving it a man's touch. Ginger feels caught between her intolerance of Buzz and the fact that she doesn't want her mom to end up alone. In the meantime, Carl uses Buzz's 3 sons as guinea pigs for his latest invention.
I love the sons.
Oh my god. Well, their names alone was Junior and Junior Senior.
And Reese's.
That's funny. And Reese's.
Not to be confused with the peanut butter cups, people. We're talking about the monkey.
The monkey. Who wrote this one, Emily?
Yes, Emily wrote this one.
Emily.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so the episode begins with Ginger, Dodie, and Macy looking through a bunch of letters and pictures from a whole bunch of guys that send in information about them because Ginger sent out an ad for the newspaper saying, if you're interested in dating my mom, then please send us information about yourself. And a lot of them are, like, really weird. Like, there's a taxidermist. There's a guy who's...
Like murderers.
Yeah, murderers.
Yeah, it wasn't one of Ginger's best ideas.
Yeah, this was like before, like, dating website.
That's true. Before Tinder.
Well, actually, then again, they actually did do a dating website in Rugrats in Paris.
That's true. You're right.
Don't sell Tinder short. I'm sure there's murderers on that one too.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. I think there was you remember that scene in the Rugrats in Paris movie in which when Chaz was looking through one of the people who was on the website, he's like, let's see, she likes long walks, and she's not allowed in the state of Kentucky. So, yeah, there you go.
Everyone's got their thing.
That's true. So, yeah.
Everyone wants to go to Kentucky.
Yeah, exactly. They want to go to Kentucky.
Yeah, sure.
They want to go to the fair to see the senorita who has flowers in her hair. Anyway, so continuing on. So while they're looking through the papers, Ginger is being really, really determined to find a guy for her mom because she watches Dr. Fawn Feelings about this segment in which we have this woman laying in a mattress saying that she's going to be alone and miserable. And I'm kind of conflicted with this because, talk show hosts always exaggerate a lot of things, but, she kind of brings up to the point, it's like, if you don't have a man in your age that you are, then you're going to end up being sad and miserable. It's like, okay, it's like being forced into marriage. I mean, sure, if you're able to find the right man.
Sometimes you got to drive those story points home.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right. When it's a short episode, sometimes you need to sacrifice subtlety for clarity, and I think it's, and plus, Dr. Fond Feelings, she's the worst, but she's such a type. There are people like her.
Did you like how Dodie interrupts herself to turn the TV on and she knows exactly what Dr. Fawn Feelings is about to say?
Oh, wow. So that means that Dodie watches it a lot. Oh, my God.
Watch it again. She must have known.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I'll bet Joanne watches it a lot. That seems like her kind of show.
Oh, absolutely.
Wait, who's Joanne?
Dodie's mom.
Oh, Dodie's mom is named Joanne. Okay.
Yeah, I guess we're on a first. I don't know why I went with her first name, Mrs. Bishop.
Yeah, Mrs. Bishop. There you go.
Oh, yeah, Mrs. Bishop. Oh, gotcha.
I was just being overly familiar, I guess.
Well, you didn't like the idea of, Dr. Fawn Feelings actually 80, who's, apparently, possibly squatting in a house on a mattress?
No, I mean, it definitely brings in the message, but it just looks really creepy and kind of disturbing, to be quite honest.
It is.
And we haven't even gotten to the dream sequence yet.
Oh my God, the dream sequence! Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway,
with the burrito.
Yeah, the Bachelorette bean burrito.
The burrito. I've never felt so personally attacked by something on this show.
Yeah, now some people are going to be like, I'm never going to Taco Bell or Chipotle ever again.
Right. Well, what's great about this episode is we see how Ginger sees Lois and how Lois actually is. That Ginger has this fear that she's, going to turn into this old crow without a man. And really, Lois's perspective is you'd rather be in no relationship than a terrible one. And I think that's a really important lesson, especially for a kid's show.
It's a really thoughtful episode. And what's funny is, Ginger's thinking about her mom. I mean, Lois, I know you guys have been talking about Lois in the last few episodes, and she's, at this point in this, when we were working on the show, we all knew Lois was a really strong character, and she kept improving. You kept getting deeper and deeper into her story. Yeah. With the nurses' strike, the relationship between her and Ginger was really solid. And this is this Foutley's Boys is another one where and Lois is kind of going along with it, sure, okay. I don't want to get ahead of you guys in the story.
No, it's fine. We tend to go all over the place a lot of the times.
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I do agree. We have another Lois-centric episode, but instead we go over to one that has never been covered before, about a relationship that she has with another man, because, we always see her as the strong single mom trying to raise her kids by herself. So, yeah, I mean, even we even talked about this in TGIF, that, yes, it's about time that Lois starts thinking about going out with somebody else. And speaking of TGIF, so we cut into Ginger seeing that Lois is getting herself ready to go on a date. Ginger is, really excited that, that she's going to have a possible date with maybe a guy that she'll have a future relationship with. And then it turns out that it's Buzz from TGIF. And, yeah, Buzz is...
Yeah, my reaction as well. Of all the ridiculous things he does, calling what he does a man's touch just made my eyes roll out of their sockets. Just so condescending, like assuming Lois can't do anything herself. I just wanted to reach into the screen and grab him.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah,
Were
what's
your
up?
parents divorced?
Well, my parents separated when I was a kid, but they got back.
Date?
No, they didn't.
Listen, man, my folks divorced, and so this is interesting because I could actually relate to this story quite a bit. My mom dated like men, and I mean that sounds bad. She didn't date a lot of men, but like I remember this guy came over to the house, and we were like. What was strange is he was trying to make a good impression, and it was kind of gross because he was trying to win us over and took us to a boat show or something. And we're like, wow, what a drag. Like, we don't want to go to a dumb boat show. It's just so strange. This is what's great about this story is like, who the hell is Buzz? And gross, he comes with 3 crummy kids.
Right.
It's just an invasion of not only the family, but the story too. And I do like that Carl takes advantage of the situation. That's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into Carl's story, so yeah, he wants to test out these new items. So we have this fabric softener, which works as aftershave, and we have fabric sheets, which works as handkerchiefs, which that sounds really, what's the word? Dangerous. If you're like rubbing.
Well, that's why he's testing. That's why he's holding some tests on these random kids.
Yeah, I know.
To me, the interesting dilemma in this episode is how Ginger has this sort of conflict of would I rather have my mom be in a relationship even though I don't like the guy, or do I want him to dump him and be single again and worry that she'll, grow old and die alone. It's interesting because we see the show through Ginger's perspective. That's sort of the dilemma. Although that's not what Lois is thinking about at all.
Yeah, she's just trying to eat a burrito, and there's nothing wrong, believe me, there's nothing wrong with hanging out by yourself and eating a burrito.
Absolutely not. Oh, that might be a good season 3 quote. I like to pull quotes for the theme song. I might pull that one. There's nothing wrong with being by yourself eating a burrito. That is so true.
Oh, while we're talking about the burrito, now we can talk about the dream sequence.
Yes.
There were 3 of us on this episode, Rob Gooden, me, and Gabby Payne, and I think there was the 3 of us. I looked at the credits earlier, and I remember Ray and a guy named Bob Fuentes, who was new to our crew, and I think that they did some extra stuff. Now, I don't know who did that, because I can tell you which sequences I did, which scenes I boarded, but I don't think I dream sequence, because it's a beauty.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's creepy, but it's all... Certainly, it was supposed to be creepy. It's horrifying for Ginger, and Lois is just so feral. Her posture is so feral. She's so, animalistic.
Yeah, she's laying down, face down on her back, and then we have Dr. Fawnfeeling saying, on today's show, we have a person who has forgotten to love, meet Lois, and then in the background we have this kind of trippy, multicolored thing, everything's swirling, which you could definitely tell that Ginger's dreaming, and when she's watching the TV, she sees that, Dr. Fawnfeelings is interviewing Lois about, how does it feel to be alone and pathetic, and then she kind of and then Lois has a slower kind of more depressing way of speaking. She's like, I still have my kids. Yeah. And then
drunk.
Yeah, drunk. Right. and then Dr. Fallen Feelings is like, well, what happens when when your kids grow up and move away? And then she's like, yeah, what's gonna happen, Mom? And then she says, I still have my mattress and my bachelorette bean burrito. And then she starts sucking it. It's really gross.
Well, and the bigger question is, she's not even at her house. Where is she? Is this a hotel?
I don't even.
Happened to Lois?
I don't even know. You're right. That is a good question. What happened?
It's not her bedroom.
No, it's not her bedroom at all. Yeah, it's creepy.
It may be the same background as the earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Fond Feelings but
Okay, I have a question for you two that's a little unrelated, back to the Three Sons. Would you watch, let's say, a full season of a spin-off show just about Buzz's three sons and their, like, dopey shenanigans?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
No way.
I found them so entertaining. Maybe, okay, put Carl in there, too. Like, I think on their own they wouldn't be as entertaining, but Carl messing with them, just classic.
I'd work on it. I wouldn't watch it. I'd work on it.
Right.
Yeah, I guess now we can, finally go over to that scene in which, ever since that, Lois invited Buzz and his three sons over, it is, like, just insane. It is absolute calamity. They are playing with, like, these nets, like fishing nets almost, and then they're just like...
I think they're pool skimmers, aren't they?
Oh, that's right, they are pool skimmers, yeah. So we have these pool skimmers, they're just like, going back and forth with them, and it's just, like, insane. And we have Buzz fixing the, the fan chandelier. And, Ginger's, like, wondering, like, what are you doing here? She's, like, questioning. He's like, oh, I'm just fixing it up. It's always nice to have a man's touch to fix it up. And it's actually pretty cool, that Buzz is able to fix these things really nicely. Like, he's able to, like, turn on the switch and snap his finger. And it's able to, like, work pretty good. And then it just goes out of control. And, then Lois just has this argument with Buzz, saying, like, I don't think it's going to work out. I'm really overwhelmed. And that's when she has the dream sequence. That's where the concept came from. And then she starts, telling Lois, is like, where's Buzz? Why isn't he here? She's like really concerned that, she doesn't want her mom ending up alone. And I even love that line from Lois when she says, after Ginger leaves, is like, I got to take that TV away from her room.
Yeah, there's some good lines in this one, that's for sure.
Yeah. So Lois decides to give Buzz another chance, and things are just getting even worse. We have the kids running around with blindfolds, and they're playing with vacuums, and it's just absolute insanity. And slowly Lois is just going along with dating Buzz, and she just wants to do it because she thinks that with Ginger around, she thinks that she needs a father figure in her life. So we cut into the hospital, and we have her talking to a nurse, and Dr. Dave is in the background. We haven't seen Dr. Dave since Hello Stranger, so yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen him. And so Lois is talking to Nurse Betty about what she's going through, and she's not paying attention whatsoever because she's listening to music, which, my God, it's like, I cannot tell you how many times I've gone through that situation.
That's why I listen to music. I usually put my headphones in so I don't have to talk to anybody.
Exactly.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do the same as well.
I'm on that other lady's side.
Yeah. I don't blame a lot of people who do that. Trust me.
Question: so this doctor was in an episode before?
Yes, he was.
I can't remember how this worked out.
Yeah,
because he turns into a thing, right?
Well, we'll discuss about that a little bit later. Yeah, but I just want to let you know that Casey hasn't seen the show in its entirety, but we do kind of see that point.
That was only 6.
I've seen a future episode, so I knew about that, and it's kind of, I think, it's pretty indicated at the end of this episode that it's going to be a regular thing. What I like about it is that it clearly took Lois being content with being single for a relationship to happen organically. That's my reading of that final scene with Dr. Dave.
Yeah, I think that's a nice way to put it, and it's true. Like, this doctor's a nice guy too. This Buzz sucks.
Yeah, he does.
Helps.
I'm just want to let everybody know off the bat, Buzz is one of my least favorite characters in the entire series, and probably one of my least favorite roles that Tom Kenny ever performed as.
It's Tom Kenny? Are you kidding me?
I'm not joking.
Oh, he is so talented.
Yeah, he's talented with SpongeBob and Heifer Wolf and the Ice King from Adventure Time, but I hate him as Buzz. Anyway.
That was Tom Kenny?
Yeah, that was Tom Kenny. Anyway, so I know we're going all over the place. I'm sorry. Anyway,
there's a lot to talk about.
I know there's a lot of things to talk about. I know. It's going to be another 40-minute long episode like with Eric, so get comfortable.
Yeah, keep them coming.
Okay, so So yeah, we have we have to bring up another thing. So yeah, Buzz likes to do the whole voting thing, in which, like, if there's a person who disagrees about, I don't like this particular thing, then they say, okay, why don't we vote on it? And it's not fair for Ginger because everybody is a boy and she's the only girl, and so Buzz then ends it up with saying fair is fair, then they get to have whatever they want, and Ginger's outnumbered and so she can't do anything about it. So she kind of feels out of place and left out. And especially with that scene in which the kids, they want to have meatball subs and she hates meatball subs. So Lois is like, fair is not fair. She doesn't like meatball subs. And then, not wanting everything to be ruined because Buzz asked her out Lois out for dinner. She says, no, Mom, don't worry about it. Go out with Buzz, go out on a romantic dinner. And the ironic thing is that where does Buzz want to take Lois out to get? Meatball subs. So they could have just been staying home, but instead they're probably going over to a local Subway's or something.
How romantic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How romantic indeed.
I found their scene at the end so charming. Like, the dialogue is so well written. It's just, like, awkward. He's kind of this bumbling, like, oh, do I come in? Do I not? I don't know what to do. It's great. They're suddenly just, like, in middle school, like Ginger,
Yeah. So, I guess now we can cut over to another scene. So, while Dodie and Macy are coming into the house and, to watch over, to visit Ginger, and Ginger is, like, incredibly overwhelmed. They had a meatball fight, there was a pillow fight in the living room, and now they're going around and playing with vacuums, and it's just absolutely insane, and they try to vote it out, but they were outnumbered again because it's 4-3, and they're being chased around by vacuums, and it's completely disastrous.
Yeah, I did that vacuum scene. Let me think. Yeah, the vacuums are a bitch. That was so strange because, like, how do you have a vacuum fight? And then, like, they all had to be plugged in too. So where do you put the cords? I'm going off on a storyboarding tangent now. I apologize.
No, please. We'd love to know everything.
I remember when the girls get chased out of the room and they're chased by the boys, and then that dumbass Rhesus runs in the other direction. I had him spin around. Did you guys hear there's a chainsaw sound effect? Because I told, I don't know if Ron Noble directed it, but I remember talking to Mark Risley, and I said, he's like Leatherface from Chainsaw Massacre. So did you guys ever see the original Chainsaw Massacre where at the end, the Leatherface is like spinning around with a chainsaw?
Yes, I remember that.
He's just going crazy off in that dirt road, and then he gets hit by the truck.
Yeah.
That's like the Leatherface. He's just spinning around with his vacuum cleaner. It's like a dustbuster or something. So Mark put that chainsaw sound effect in there. If you hear it, that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
and then does it go right into the chicken cartoon? I can't remember. It goes into the cartoon, right?
Yes. That's the next scene, actually.
Yes, I loved that.
Are you just saying that?
No, I really did. That's literally my note in here, is that it was such a refreshing kind of pull away from the usual animation of the show. I thought that was great.
This chicken thing, okay, this is what was nice about working on this show. And, like, Mark Risley would let me do, like, little things. Like, whenever I thought it fit, or if there was an idea or something, some dumb gag, he was totally cool with stupid stuff. And in the script, they were just watching cartoons. But I pitched this idea, like, well, why don't they just watch it? Why don't I cut to the cartoon and then pull out of it and show that they're watching cartoons? And, this chicken, this is kind of funny because I've been drawing this dumb chicken character forever. He was just this stupid chicken. And he, like, smoked a cigar. He was like I don't know what his deal was. But I said, well, how about this if it's like an old 30s style thing? And Mark was like down. He was like, let's do it. And he really went for it. So he did, it's all in black and white. Like, he did it so well that he even chopped it up a little so that it was badly done. And here's some interesting information. Mark did the voices. So that's when it was animated. I know Mark did, hey, some of this, like, hey, whatever, like, when it comes to this farmer who's apparently waiting for a bus. I don't know what the story is exactly, but, like, this farmer is just, like, hanging out, dancing, and, like, Mark did this stuff like, hey, he checks his watch, and he goes, whatever. Then he pan up to this chicken who, for no reason at all, knocks a piano off the roof onto the farmer. Anyway, Mark did all those voices, and you hear it, like, he actually cuts it, so there's parts where you could tell frames would have been chopped out of it somehow, like it was an old film, television, or badly edited.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's stuff that Mark let me do, and that was one of the dumb things. I don't know if you guys ever saw Yeah, because you're going in order. The Twin Peaks stuff.
That's much later, but yeah, we'll definitely discuss about that much later on. But it's funny because the thing that you tweeted a few months ago about the Twin Peaks, that's actually what made me get a hold of you in the first place, because that that was amazing, what you did, and we actually have a very special guest to talk about that episode with, but that's much later. But yeah, that Twin Peaks thing that you did the storyboard for was incredible.
Yeah, that was another one too. Like in the script, and this is what happened. Twin Peaks had just come out on DVD, and this is 2002 maybe, and I was like going nuts for David Lynch, and I was reading the script and the scene. I'm like, my God, this would fit perfectly into the Red Room. And I pitched it to Mark, and Mark goes, "Oh, we'll do it then. Let's just do it." So then Eric Casimiro flipped when he found out we did it, and he loved it. Like, that was a really big hit. I'm surprised that we actually were able to do it, because like sometimes. That's what was so nice about this show, creative, and they appreciated, like, if it fit. I don't remember if there was anything that didn't work. You had to know what you could and couldn't do. Well, that was one of those things where Mark just went to town. I mean, the backgrounds were done right. That Twin Peaks thing was a lot of fun.
That's amazing. And also...
but the chicken cartoon was super, super stupid.
I just want to let you know, not going into spoilers, Casey, but I'll just let you know, they actually did bring back, 2 seconds of the chicken in the final episode when Carl and Hoodsey are switching to the TV.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. When they're watching TV, and for 2 seconds, the chicken's there.
You want to hear something crazy? You want to hear a little tidbit? This is ridiculous. Mark put my picture in an episode. And you guys tell me which episode this is. Carl and Hoodsey go to with the monkey.
Oh yes, that's driven to it. That's driven to extreme. Oh wait, which monkey? Oh, Mr. Licorice. Brandon? But Mr. Licorice. But which episode with Mr. Licorice?
This was the episode where there's a scene when they get to Brandon's house and there's security cameras.
Oh yes,
and
that's
they make him take off his shoes. And Hoodsey says he's moist-souled.
Yeah, that's Never Can Say Goodbye. Yeah, that where they, yeah.
Really? Dude, if you watch that, there's a scene right when they walk into the house. There's a scene when they're walking down the hallway. It's barely there. There's photos framed in the hallway. Like, there's a picture of Mr. Licorice in a sailor suit or something else, and there's a picture of me. And it was like some picture somebody took back. One night we all went out or something. It was just this dumb picture of me, and Mark put it in the background. So if you watch it, miss it, but it's like there for a split second before the pan starts.
Wow, I need to watch the episode again. That's amazing.
Strange things like that back then. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So yeah, so going into that chicken cartoon, so yeah, we have Buzz and the boys and Carl just watching the chicken cartoon in their underwear, and Lois is just absolutely disgusted by it. It's like, if you came in at 6 a.m. watching Saturday morning cartoons, and she's just I've been doing it for hours and hours, and then we have Buzz saying, like, okay, we'll do something outside, and they decide to go paintballing, and then Buzz tells her to go and relax on this spa that he made for her, and Ginger goes over to Darin's house.
The lady spa.
Yeah, the lady spa. And so Ginger goes over to Darin's house, and he's just sitting down. She's just laying in Darin's bed and relaxing with no noise whatsoever. And, even, Lois can enjoy her bath because she feels like, with everything going on with Buzz, she feels that, maybe Ginger's not as happy with Buzz being around the house, similar to how she's feeling. Eventually, Ginger's like, oh, no, Mom, we should go over and play paintball. And they end up losing. And I actually have a question regarding about this. Now, I've played paintball before, and I don't know which version of paintball they were playing, but if you get hit by a paintball, it hurts. Like, really badly, because it's the tiny paintballs, and if you shoot it from, like, a certain distance, I mean, it doesn't, like, it does splat paint on you, but it hurts really bad. And there's some scenes in which you have paint on their hair and paint on their face. It's like, wow, they must have been playing the safe version, because they would be ending up with more black and blues than, having paint all over their face.
Well, I did that scene, and I'll tell you, it was because it was trying to get, and this was probably in the script, to go, like a smash cut from one bit to the other. It's hard to, like, show time progressing, but we did this thing where, what was it, Lois and Ginger in the car.
Yeah.
And it goes right to them after the paintball thing. You got to cover them with paint to show, it was a horrible... Clearly they had a horrible time. Now, granted, they must have gotten shot in the head quite a bit, but that's someplace I didn't go.
Okay.
But the transition also with the paint going, just, it's a visual joke, but it's also to show the difference between, God, what a horrible time that must have been.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, they looked absolutely miserable, and they ended up winning the game, and the prize was having meatball subs, and Lois is just staring at them. She's like incredibly furious and frustrated, and then she tells Buzz that she's going to talk to him regarding about breaking up, and she tells the boys to eat their subs in Carl's room. And so then we have the juniors approaching Carl saying, okay, we want to be able to get a profit from you testing this stuff on us. We don't want gum anymore. We want cash. And Carl is like really frightened. I mean, we even have that scene in which Reese's reaches over to the lights and turns it off. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, these guys are, they may be dumb, but I think they kill animals. I have a funny feeling. They're like those guys.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They grow up to be those other guys. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Murderers.
Or do they grow up to be the more lunatics at Lake Loon?
Oh, yeah, that's right. They grow up to be Crazy Floyd.
Yeah, I remember that. That's funny.
So Lois breaks up with Buzz. Buzz is pretty upset about it, and he understands that Lois is not interested in dating him anymore. So he calls the boys up to the truck, and they drive away. And she apologizes to Ginger and Carl, saying, "I hope that you weren't upset that I had to kick out Buzz. I know that he meant a lot to you." And then Ginger was like, "Buzz didn't mean a lot to us. He was actually pretty annoying. I just wanted you to have a relationship because I didn't want you to be lonely." And this is one of my favorite lines that Lois says in the entire series. She says, being in a relationship just for the sake of being in a relationship is absolutely insane. You have to let your heart follow you. It's like, that is so great. I wish more people would listen to that.
It's a really poignant show. I mean, it's smart. I mean, it's the stuff I don't know, do you get that these days? You didn't get it a lot back then. This is a good series.
Absolutely, yeah, and she says, miserable, where'd you get that crazy idea? I love that thought, too, sort of, like, she's never indicated that she's lonely or unhappy. It's like Ginger and Carl are enough for her, and a relationship is an added bonus.
And there's nothing wrong with hanging out by yourself, eating a burrito.
Oh, yeah, I think that's the big conclusion from this whole episode. That's what I took.
So the episode ends with the doorbell ringing, and it's Dr. Dave, and he gives Lois back her foot arch, and she invites him over to the house, and they start talking a little bit about their likes and their dislikes, and it seems like this is definitely like the starting point in which maybe there may be something between Lois and Dr. Dave, but we'll just have to wait and see as the series goes on. Not going to say anything. So
I can't even remember, so.
Okay, that's fair enough. Anyway, so that's pretty much it for this episode. So, Darin, in every episode, we usually give our ranking of yay, nay, or meh. And since you worked on this episode, and since you told me that this was one that you really enjoyed the most out of the episodes that you storyboarded, I assume you're going to give it a yay.
I'll give it a yay.
Sure. All right, what about you, Casey?
As will I. We've, I think, hit a stretch of really solid episodes. The show clearly was in its stride in this stretch of episodes, and it's just got great lessons. It's funny. There's no Courtney or Miranda, and we can always use a break from them, even though they are great. I actually enjoyed this episode. I'm going to have to give it a slight yay as well. I think that it does delve with Lois in a much more different way than we've ever seen her, going into a relationship with somebody, and, sometimes that, and also we, get into Buzz, which I already mentioned that I don't like, and I'm glad that Lois was able to figure out, like, quickly as I was, that, Buzz wasn't the right man for her, and I'm glad that Ginger was concerned about Lois, saying, like, I want you to be happy, Mom. I want you to be with somebody. And it does give us a fantastic lesson that just because you're not with somebody, that doesn't mean that you're going to end up miserable. And that's a great lesson for anybody who feels like, I need to be with somebody in order for me to be happy. So, sometimes that's not the case. And, it's also a really important episode because we may have a spark between Lois and Dr. Dave. I just want to let you know, Casey, a little bit of a hint. This will not be the last time we will see Buzz. Buzz will come back in another episode, and it's
it's gonna be a big one. So you know what? We'll save that for. Yeah, we'll save that.
I don't even remember. Is that true?
Oh, I'm serious. He actually, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but he shows up in a much later episode, and he plays a big role. I'll just leave it as that.
Don't forget, the chicken comes back too.
Yes, that's right. The chicken comes back too. That's right. The chicken.
I'm anxiously waiting that chicken
in a big way. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, that should be it for our discussion of this episode. Darin, why don't you please plug and promote your stuff, and where can people find you at?
You want me to plug my stuff?
Yeah.
I like to. It's up to you.
Yeah, if you want to, that's fine.
There's nothing to plug. I'm still storyboarding.
Where are you storyboarding? Yeah, where are you storyboarding at?
Oh, I'm at Nickelodeon. You guys know the Loud House?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely, yeah.
I've been on Loud House for almost 3 years now. So we're in the middle of our 3rd season.
That's fantastic.
It's such a good show, and it's funny because like with Loud House, you get. God, the stories are good and the characters are good, and it's got so much heart. It reminds me of like the good bits from Ginger. You know, there's like some really heartfelt moments, and it's good writing too. So yeah, Loud House has been great. I got a little preschool thing I sold, so we're developing this preschool show for Nick Jr., which has been, a lot of work and a lot of fun too. So that's going to be done in the next couple of months. The rest of it's just animation. Working. That's about it.
That's fantastic.
Eating burritos.
And do you have like a website, Facebook, Twitter?
It's just DarinMcGowan.com. Twitter's Asylum. What is my Twitter? Asylum_26. That's the first painting I ever sold was called Asylum 26.
That's interesting.
So yeah, there's no point in following me. I just bitch about shit.
Don't we all? Isn't that what Twitter is?
Yeah, we all do that. This is the internet. We all do that.
It's the most depressing Twitter ever. It's like, oh my god.
You haven't followed Joan and Vasquez. You have not followed Joan and Vasquez.
Oh, okay. So I'm not half as bad.
No, you're not. Trust me. I mean, you posted up that, Twin Peaks as told by Ginger storyboard. That's what made me want you to. That's what made me want to get you.
Yeah, I found a whole bin of my old stuff. It's funny because, you don't know what you do anymore because everything's digital. But I was at my folks' house and they have all my old stuff in storage. I'm like, I've got this bin of, what is in this bin? Oh my God, it's all my old Klasky Chupo stuff. It's like piles and piles of boards. I've got stuff, lots of stuff.
That's great. We even told this to Eric that if you have, if you post it on Twitter, or maybe if you can even, give us a few pictures of some of the storyboards you did for Miss Foutley's Boys, we would love to share it for our followers in the forums.
I got them. Well, they're under my parents' stairs, so I'd have to go back. Everything's back in storage.
No rush.
I got all kinds of cool stuff.
That's fantastic. Well,
and more stories. I'm telling you, if you want some dirt, I got dirt.
Well, thank you very much, Darin. We really did appreciate you having you as a guest on the podcast.
Yeah, this was fantastic. Thank you. All right, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next week, we've got our 31st episode, Love with a Proper Transfer Student. Ashley and I have already covered it on the Friday Night Nicktoons podcast. We're looking forward to getting back to it in context. So we'll see you guys next time.